Strauss. I'm CEO of Pekin Hardy Strauss Wealth Management. I'm here with my colleague Ted Suhling, who just wrote up a piece about the benefits of continuing to work full time, which is one of my favorite topics. One of the things that I like to tell my clients is that the best retirement plan is to plan to work longer. And so, I think that's what this topic is all about. You mentioned in your intro paragraph that you had some eye-opening statistics to share with us. Can you share some of them with us?
Yeah, of course. So there's a couple different research bureaus and firms that did some things, and I want to take a look at one that was done in 2018 by the National Bureau of Economic Research, and this was specifically on the power of working longer. Now, this study showed if you were to work only 3 months longer, that would have the same impact as increasing your savings 1% over a 30-year career period. So that's saying if you're 55 now and you started working at 25, if you were saving 5% every year during that 30 years, saving 6% during that time would essentially equate to the same as working 3 months longer at the end of your career, given that you're making the same salary and you're in your higher earning years.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I didn't know that.
Yes.
All right, what else do you have?
Yeah, there's many more. Another study that the National Bureau, of Economic Research showed that the percentage increase of income from working anywhere from 1 to 8 years longer, as well as delaying Social Security, so that's not taking it when it first becomes available, and the different time frames, they kind of drew out different scenarios. So for example, if you originally planned on to retire at an earlier age of 62, usually normal retirement's anywhere between 65 and 67, but you decide to work for another year, so that is, you decide to retire at 63, your retirement income would increase by roughly 6.7%. Now, if you worked until 67 and delayed that Social Security as well till 67, your income could increase as large as roughly 43%. So with those two items working in tandem, that is working longer as well as delaying Social Security, you can build a pretty nice nest egg to comfort yourself with that retirement income.
Well, it's sort of a great sort of side point talking about Social Security, because sometimes I'll talk with a client who is worried about if they live to a very long time, if they live to 100, 105, will their money really last that long? And one of the recommendations that I give to them is, if you're worried about that at all, you should delay your Social Security as long as possible, because even though you won't get it until a much later year, when you do receive it, you'll receive it for the rest of your life, and it'll be a much higher level of income and will more assuredly make sure that you don't run out of money before you die.
Exactly. And a lot of the times we see people who are taking Social Security at earlier ages than full retirement age. They're doing that because they are no longer working and they need some type of supplemental income to continue living and paying for their expenses, because they don't want to change their expenses, but they don't also want to continue to work.
Right.
So that's another benefit of working longer, is you don't necessarily need to even think about Social Security until you're done working.
Good. And any other statistics worth sharing?
Yeah, so there's also, I know we started with saying continuing to work full time. Now, that might not be feasible for everyone. Life happens and there's things that go on. So even working part-time or doing some type of consulting gig work, that can be a huge buffer in your retirement income and really help out. In 2017, the Stanford Center of Longevity and the Society of Actuaries analyzed the projected income of a 60-year-old married couple with a combined household income of $200,000 and roughly $1 million in savings. The annual income is made up of Social Security benefits and a yearly withdrawal rate based on life expectancy. Now, in the industry, that's roughly 4%, but that's always a person-to-person thing. The numbers were also derived from the assumption that a couple will contribute 15% of their income each year while working full-time to a savings program, and nothing while working part-time. So I know that was kind of a lot of explanation on how this study worked, but here are some numbers. So if a couple was to retire completely at 62, based off of all those inputs I just said, they would receive roughly $70,000 in annual income adjusted for inflation each year. Now, if they decide to both work part-time or one of them work part-time until age 65, that annual income can be boosted from roughly $70,000 to $84,000, again, every year inflation adjusted. And if we look all the way out to working part-time until age 70, then your income not only goes from roughly 70,000 at age 62 and 84,000 at age 65, it boosts all the way up to 120,000 roughly if you work part-time until age 70. So there are some caveats with that. Not everyone's able to do so, like I said at the beginning. So that is definitely a person-to-person decision.
Great. Well, this is, I think you've got a lot of interesting charts and statistics in your paper here to help sort of explain and quantify the benefit of working longer, delaying your Social Security, even if you're working part-time. There's benefits there. So that's really useful. And I recommend anybody who's wondering about whether they should retire or not or keep working to read this paper. And if you have further questions, reach out to your Pekin Hardy portfolio manager. Yeah, thanks so much, Ted. We appreciate this paper.
Yeah, of course. I just want to touch on one more thing too, is there's not only just monetary benefits to this, there are sometimes personal and health benefits. In the paper, you can also read up on some studies that were done by the CDC and how it affects your overall well-being, that is health and financially. So once again, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this with us, and I'll give it back to Adam.
All right. Well, thank you. I didn't mean to cut you off early, and I appreciate you adding that at the end. And like I said, I recommend you read this. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you very much.
Bye.